Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. As I wrote in a recent written devotional, this is the new year of the Christian calendar. Advent, the 4 Sundays before Christmas, start the mark of the Christian calendar. Yours starts on January 1st, as does mine, but the church's calendar starts in these 4 Sundays before Christmas. So Happy New Year. And I wanted to just do a quick preview video to say, first, thank you to everyone who watches these videos, but also who subscribes to my written devotionals. There's about 2,000 people now, and I prayed for you this morning. I wanted you to know I prayed for you this morning, and as a reminder, I want you to hear it, that if you ever need something, send me an email, and I'll pray for you. I don't get that many requests. The most I've ever had after one devotional with 2,000 people was about 25, so I can manage that. Send me an email to the written devotionals, and I'll pray for you. I wanted you to know that. And also, this is a preview to the video that follows to remind you, thank you for subscribing to this video series and to the series I do on YouTube. And also to summarize by saying the Advent series is about being generous and having a reminder to be generous. So I got to work this morning, put on my Christmas shoes, and it reminded me of the Advent series to be generous. So I want to encourage you to be generous and have a reminder about being generous, not just financially, but spiritually with the people that you meet. Enjoy the video. Thank you, and remember, I'm grateful for you and I'm praying for you, all those I've never met. God bless. Thank you for joining me for the Advent series of devotionals, and a question that I get, why do we light candles during this season? Now, as a colleague reminds me every year, this time of year, it is appropriate for Christians to say Happy New Year before the calendar New Year, because Advent, the 4 Sundays before Christmas and Christmas Eve, that is the start of the church's calendar, what they call the liturgical calendar. So when we light the first candle, we're actually starting a new church calendar year. And Advent translates into coming or arrival, and it's typically associated with preparation and looking for this celebration. Now, I'm going to ask you to go back on a journey with me, those of you who can remember a Christmas from your childhood. Think back. I remember being in Scotland. My parents had very little money, and I remember Christmas coming, and for whatever reason, when I was 4 or 5 years old, I remember this one Christmas being one of anticipation. My parents had told me, there's going to be something for you under the tree. And I waited and waited and waited, and I had hope. My hope was that there would be something under the tree. The first candle that we light, and they're usually purple, this is one of ours, the first candle that we light is typically associated in the traditional lighting and reading with the word hope, Christian hope. In this season of waiting and preparation, waiting for the celebration of Jesus, waiting for even the second coming of Christ. That's one of the other meanings that we see in Advent readings. We have a hope in a promise that has already been fulfilled. Now that gets lost. It's like theological language. But I want you to, if you can, go back with me to a Christmas you remember from childhood where you had hope for something and you had to wait for it. I fast forwarded from that memory to remembering my brother and sister on Christmas morning. I was much older than they were, and so as a teenager, I got to see them have that squealing delight on Christmas morning where they just run into the tree and tear stuff up. They had been waiting, but their waiting and hopefulness was in a promise that our parents had given them. There's going to be stuff for you under the tree. When we look at this lighting of the Advent candle, I take you back to an Old Testament reading when the Israelites and King David in particular had been in difficult times. Here's a reading from the psalmist on behalf of King David. It's titled, "For the director of music, of David, the servant of the Lord, he sang to the Lord the words of this song," listen carefully, "when the Lord delivered him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Saul. David said," and now the psalmist writes on his behalf, "I love you, Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. My God is my rock in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. I called to the Lord, who is worthy of praise, and I have been saved from my enemies. The cords of death entangled me. The torrents of destruction overwhelmed me. King David reminds us, God has done something in the past. He's going to do it again. God has made promises that He's fulfilled. He's going to do it again. So if you are in a difficult season in this first week of Advent, I trust and I pray that you will have hope, not wishful thinking for Santa to bring you gifts, but hope in a God who makes promises on your behalf. Christian hope is not wishfulness. It is belief and trust in the one who fulfills His promises. Be hopeful. I'm wearing my Advent shoes, my Christmas shoes, as a tangible reminder. Even as we light the candles every week, that's a reminder. I'm wearing my shoes every week at work that remind me, God is with us. Emmanuel. Happy New Year. God bless.